Japan has so many iconic locations. Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, Naoshima, Hiroshima, so many amazing places. But are they all worth it? Let's dive into these locations and more to see which ones you should go to and which ones you should skip. Here are the top 10 places in Japan.
The next station is Tokyo.
Hey guys, Hwang here, and today we are going to go all over the country of Japan as we explore all of these amazing places to help you find out which ones you should go to and which ones you should skip. And I will give you my thoughts on each place to help you make a decision. We will start off with the more popular and well-known locations and work our way toward the lesser-known locations. First off, let's start off with a place that everyone is familiar with, Tokyo. Tokyo is the capital of Japan and is the world's largest city with a staggering 37 million people. Tokyo kind of has it all, with culture and history like the Sensoji Temple, which is approximately 1,400 years old, modern marvels like the Tokyo Skytree, which is the world's tallest tower, standing at 634 meters or 2,080 feet tall, and of course, food, with everything ranging from omakase sushi to fugu. What is fugu? Well, fugu is the poisonous pufferfish. Chefs in Japan have to be licensed to serve fugu and go through a rigorous training process to prepare this delicacy safely. Though as of September 2024, the youngest chef to become licensed in Japan to serve fugu is only 10 years old, beating out the previous record, an 11-year-old. I don't know about you, but if I was eating a potentially deadly dish and saw a 10-year-old preparing it, I'd personally be a little nervous. Would you eat it? Another fun fact is the oldest fugu chef is 97 years old. From what I've heard, fugu tastes fairly plain and has a chewy texture and makes your tongue tingle slightly. I wonder why. Anyway, back to Tokyo. There is a plethora of things to do here, and if you are someone who loves to be surrounded by the city life and tons of activities, people, and attractions, this is the place for you. I have a lot of in-depth guides on Tokyo and the various awards in there, so if you want, go ahead and check those out. So let's rate Tokyo. For each place, I'll be rating it off of 3 different things. Uniqueness, how unique is this location compared to the rest of Japan? Long-term value, is it worth staying here long-term or is it just a day trip? And general appeal, how much would the average person enjoy this place? For Tokyo, uniqueness is going to be a 7 out of 10. Tokyo has a lot going for it that makes it stand out compared to the rest of Japan, but other cities do compete with what Tokyo has to offer. For long-term value, Tokyo gets a 10 out of 10. You can spend your whole entire Japan trip just in Tokyo and still not have enough time to do it all. Lastly, general appeal. Tokyo is an 8 out of 10. Most people would enjoy their time in Tokyo, and I think the only people who wouldn't enjoy their time there are people who don't like the city or are looking for more nature or tranquil spots. If you are looking for more nature or shrines and temples and things like that, then Tokyo still has those, but there are better places. Overall, a solid 25 out of 30. Next, let's move on to Osaka, Japan's 3rd largest city and the food capital of Japan. Often referred to as Japan's kitchen, Osaka is famous for takoyaki, which is a savory fried octopus ball, and okonomiyaki, which is a savory pancake with a variety of toppings and sauces, and is one of the most beloved dishes originating from Osaka. As far as things to do, let's start off the day at the famous Osaka Castle. This castle is one of Japan's most iconic landmarks, and you can't visit Osaka without a visit here. The castle was built in the 16th century and its architecture is simply beautiful. The castle has been reconstructed multiple times and as it stands today, offers a peaceful and tranquil area in the midst of a modern city. You can stop by Toyo, the legendary izakaya street food stall that was featured on the Netflix show Street Food Asia, showcasing chef Toyoji Tsukumoto and his famous grilling method with a flamethrower. As the day gets a bit later, the neon lights come on and it's time for the fun to start. Make your way to the Dotonbori area, and this is the heart of the nightlife in Osaka and is famous in Japan. Don't forget to stop by the Glico Man photo, which has become an iconic spot in Osaka. Explore streets lined with amazing street food here and enjoy to your heart's content. There is also the famous Nintendo World at Universal Studios in Osaka as well. Okay, now time for the rating. Uniqueness, long-term value, and general appeal. Osaka's uniqueness makes it a 7 out of 10, with its food culture and vibrant nightlife making it a stunning location, only second to Tokyo in terms of nightlife and city activity. Osaka's long-term value is a 7 out of 10. While you could spend a week or more in Osaka, you can do most of the major things in a few days. And you'd probably end up going to other places like Kyoto nearby as opposed to staying in Osaka the whole entire time. General appeal for Osaka is a 9 out of 10. Osaka is more cultural and laid back than Tokyo, and there are plenty of things to do and enjoy here for everyone, from nature to the city and from nightlife to the food. Overall for Osaka, a 23 out of 30. Next, staying close to Osaka, we will go to Kyoto. Kyoto was the ancient capital of Japan for over 1,000 years, and Kyoto is nothing short of legendary. The amount of world-famous locations in Kyoto is never-ending, and Kyoto is a stunning area where history meets nature, and it is simply breathtaking. Kyoto is home to 17 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, showing just how historically significant this city is. The famous Fushimi Inari Shrine with its thousands of torii gates is one location that you won't want to miss. This spot is all over Instagram, and it is instantly recognizable as one of Japan's most iconic locations. But get here early or risk dealing with the massive crowds of people here. Kyoto also has the most famous bamboo grove in Japan, the Arashiyama Bamboo Forest. The legendary Kinkakuji Temple and Golden Pavilion are also in Kyoto, along with Kiyomizu-dera, the iconic temple with its stunning view of the city of Kyoto. There are over 2,000 shrines and temples in Kyoto, and exploring it all will keep you walking endlessly. Kyoto also has a modern core and bustling downtown with lots of shopping, food, and Kyoto is particularly famous for its soba noodles and tofu, which are made from the extremely pure water in Kyoto. Don't forget to stop at one of the Gyukatsu locations in Kyoto for their famous Wagyu Katsu, which is the best beef katsu you've ever had.
It just melts straight into your mouth. It's so good.
Kyoto remains a beautiful spot with its iconic landscapes and cultural significance to Japan. Alright, time for the rating. Uniqueness, long-term value, and general appeal. Kyoto's uniqueness is a 10 out of 10 with its prominence in Japanese culture and the amount of historical spots here. It is just one of, if not the most iconic location and unique spot in Japan. Kyoto's long-term value is a 9 out of 10. You could easily spend an entire trip in Kyoto and explore all of the amazing wonders and still have plenty more to do for your next trip. General appeal for Kyoto is a 7 out of 10. The main reason Kyoto's general appeal is a bit lower is because Kyoto is mostly nature, shrines, and temples. Some people who are not into the cultural aspect may not enjoy it as much, and it may be a bit boring for kids. Though, in general, Kyoto has a very high appeal to most people with its countless Instagram-worthy spots, and it is definitely worth a visit. Overall for Kyoto, a 26 out of 30. Okay, the next one is a rather large region. We're talking about Mount Fuji. Everyone has heard of this world-famous mountain, and Japan has just issued a notice to its citizens on how to prepare for an eruption from this historic mountain if it did erupt. And let's just say Japan will be in a lot of trouble, though all of this is for a different video. Now for this entry, we are talking about the mountain itself and the surrounding area. Mount Fuji itself is iconic, and it is one of, if not the most famous spot in all of Japan. You can hike the famous 3,776 meter or 12,389 feet tall mountain, which takes on average about 5 to 10 hours, though many suggest doing the hike over 2 days to adjust to the altitude and prevent altitude sickness. And you can do this by resting at the mountain hut about halfway up the mountain. It can also take around 3 or 4 hours to descend the mountain. The area surrounding the mountain provides excellent viewpoints of the famous mountain itself. The world famous Lawson store in Fuji Kawaguchiko is famous with its iconic view of Mount Fuji in the background behind the store. This spot became so popular on social media and drew so many people to the town that the town itself put up barriers blocking the view of Mount Fuji there to deter people from coming here, and it worked, sorta. It did draw a lot of backlash, and while it did reduce the crowds in the area for a while, the local government did end up taking down the barrier shortly after, and the area is open again, though security guards do patrol the area to maintain order. On the other side of Mount Fuji in Shizuoka Prefecture in Fuji City, there is the iconic Mount Fuji Dream Bridge, which is a walking pedestrian bridge that ascends facing the mountain and offers stunning views of the mountain itself and makes for a great backdrop for your photos. This is another famous Instagram spot that was blocked for some time due to rude tourists. These spots are stunning, but the lesson to be learned here is be respectful of the area and the people who live there. In short, there are plenty of amazing spots to take photos of the iconic Mount Fuji all around, but don't be that guy that ruins it for everyone by being a terrible tourist. So, time for the rating. Uniqueness, long-term value, and general appeal. Mount Fuji's uniqueness is a 10 out of 10. There's just simply nothing quite like Mount Fuji in Japan. This iconic location is ultra famous for a reason. Mount Fuji's long-term value is a 4 out of 10. You need around a day or two to hike the mountain itself, and probably a few days to explore the area around Mount Fuji if you're an avid photographer or like the smaller, quaint towns. But aside from that, most of the towns around Mount Fuji are on the smaller side, and you can still get views of Mount Fuji itself from Tokyo and Yokohama, but the closer views are from the smaller towns, and generally speaking, there is less to do there long term. General appeal for Mount Fuji is a 6 out of 10. Mount Fuji is iconic, though many people would rather see it from afar, such as in Tokyo itself, and do other things in Japan as opposed to climbing or going to the smaller towns to get photos. But that being said, it continues to draw crowds and hikers continue to flood to the mountain, so much so that they had to put limits on the amount of people that could hike it per day, which I believe is around 4,000 hiking permits that they give out per day. So if you want to hike Mount Fuji, make sure you secure your permit in advance. Overall for Mount Fuji, a 20 out of 30. Next, we will move on to Hiroshima, a very famous town for unfortunate reasons. Visiting Hiroshima is an experience that can be powerful and moving. You can visit the Hiroshima Peace Memorial, which has the famous Genbaku Dome, which was the only structure left standing after the devastation of Hiroshima. This building is permanently kept in a state of preserved ruin. You can also visit the Hiroshima Castle, which was rebuilt in 1958 and is simply beautiful. Nearby, you will find the island of Izukushima with the Izukushima Shrine and its iconic floating torii gate, which is in the water, at least during high tide. During low tide, the land around the gate itself is exposed and tourists can walk up to the gate and take pictures and see it up close. And you'll realize the gate is massive. Lastly, if you are into cars, specifically Mazdas, then you will find that the Mazda headquarters and main manufacturing plant in Hiroshima. Let's move on to the rating. Uniqueness, long-term value, general appeal. Hiroshima's uniqueness is a 10 out of 10. The history of this city makes it unlike any other in Japan or the world, only followed closely by one other, and that's Nagasaki. Hiroshima's long-term value is a 4 out of 10. You can spend around a day or two in this area, but you probably don't need more than that. General appeal for Hiroshima is a 5 out of 10. Hiroshima is a famous city with a lot of history and draws crowds for that reason. However, the city in and of itself isn't as attractive as other places, so the appeal is lower for those who aren't as into history. This is still a very popular tourist spot, but it isn't on most people's first time to Japan itinerary. Overall for Hiroshima, a 19 out of 30. Next, it is time to go to the Hawaii of Japan, and this is Okinawa. Okinawa is known for its pristine beaches and tropical weather. The pace of Okinawa is much slower and more relaxed than the busy cities of Japan. If you love going to the beach and warm weather, then this is the place for you. You can bathe at one of the many beaches here, including the popular Yonehara Beach, and see diverse marine life and coral reefs here. You can also check out the Okinawa Churaumi Aquarium, which has over 11,000 marine creatures, including whale sharks and manta rays. The Kuroshio Sea see main tank there has the world's largest acrylic glass panel, and the aquarium is a stunning place to be. Okinawa also is a blue zone, meaning a region where people live longer than the average, and it is in part due to the diet and lifestyle of the people there. Women in Okinawa live on average longer than any on the planet. While here, also try some of Okinawa's local dishes like Okinawa soba. Okinawa also has a very large US military presence in the area, so that's just something to know. On to the ratings. Okinawa's uniqueness is a 9 out of 10. While there are other beaches in Japan, Okinawa's sheer amount of pristine beaches and crystal clear waters make it a unique spot in Japan, along with its relaxed, chill vibe. Okinawa's long-term value is a 6 out of 10. You can't quite enjoy all of Okinawa in a day or two, and part of that is because it's fairly far to get to from other parts of Japan like Tokyo. If you are going to invest the time to go to Okinawa to make it worth it, it would take at least 3 to 5 days. General appeal for Okinawa is a 6 out of 10. Okinawa is a popular place to go to, just like Hawaii in the United States, and also like Hawaii, it is farther away and needs ample time to enjoy. For that reason, many people opt not to go to Okinawa on their first trip to Japan. However, people coming back to Japan or those who just really love the beach will find time to enjoy the beautiful beaches of Okinawa. Overall for Okinawa, a 21 out of 30. Now we move on to Nikko, and this is an interesting spot just 2 hours away from Tokyo, but feels like a world away. This is a place that blends rich cultural heritage with breathtaking natural beauty. The Toshogu Shrine and the Taiyunbo Shrine, along with Rennoji Temple, offer beautiful locations filled with rich cultural history. The Kigan Waterfall is one of Japan's 3 great waterfalls and has a drop of 318 feet or 97 meters. It is quite picturesque and definitely worth a stop here. Also in the area, check out the Edo Wonderland Amusement Park, which is a park designed to showcase the Edo period of Japan, which was from 1603 to 1868. If you are into Japanese history, this is a unique spot. You can also see the Tobu World Square, which has reproductions of 102 world-famous buildings at 1/25th scale, including 46 World Heritage sites. If you are into miniatures, then this is a really neat place to go and check out a lot of world famous sites at small scale. If you are looking for a more relaxing time, go ahead and check out the Kinugawa Onsen, which is a hot spring that overlooks the river. There are several onsens in this area, and once they were only open to monks and samurai, but today they're open to everyone. Okay. Ratings. Nikko's uniqueness is an 8 out of 10. The picturesque views and cultural history, along with the Edo Amusement Park and Tobu World Square, make it a pretty unique location. Nikko's long-term value is a 4 out of 10. You can do most of the things here in 2 or so days. If you really wanted to relax, you could spend a little bit more time here in the onsens. Being only 2 hours away from Tokyo, it is easy to make a short trip from Tokyo, so this isn't a place that you would spend your whole entire trip at, but it's possible to even do a day trip here. General appeal for Nikko is a 4 out of 10. Nikko is not a location that may appeal to everyone. If you are into scenic nature and history, it is worth the visit. If you aren't into those things, then there are other places that have similar things, though maybe not quite as unique, but it's still close enough that it may not be worth visiting here, and you could go to other places like Kyoto. I also wouldn't consider this as a contender for a first-time Japan trip stop. Overall for Nikko, a 16 out of 30. Moving right along to our next spot, we have Nagano. This spot is famous for a lot of things, including the legendary Jigokundai Monkey Park. This is a hot spring where you do the opposite of what you would typically do in a hot spring. Instead of bathing yourself, you are watching monkeys bathe in the onsen. Though if you want to be inside the onsen with the monkeys, you can go to the guest house at the Korakuken Onsen, which is an open air onsen, and if you get lucky there, you may see some monkeys. Watching the monkeys bathe in the onsen, especially in the winter, is particularly famous. There are also plenty of non-monkey related onsens for you to enjoy yourself without the need of unexpected monkey business. Hakiba Valley is world famous for its powder snow and was part of the 1998 Winter Olympics in Japan. If you are into snowboarding or skiing, then this is one of the 2 top locations in Japan for all of your winter sports needs. However, this location is much more convenient being so close to Tokyo compared to the other location, which we'll go over in a bit. In Nagano, you will find the Matsumoto Castle, which is one of Japan's premier black castles with its striking dark exterior. Nagano also has the Zenkoji Temple, which holds the oldest Buddhist statue ever brought to Japan. A replica of the statue is revealed once every 7 years here. Nagano is also renowned for its sake, so take some time and enjoy the numerous breweries scattered across the region. Let's move on to ratings: uniqueness, long-term value, and general appeal. Nagano's uniqueness is a 10 out of 10, especially in the winter with the snow monkeys in the hot springs. This is one of those iconic Japan things that's just super unique even in Japan. The world-class snowboarding and skiing resorts and plenty of other attractions make this location very unique. Nagano's long-term value is a 7 out of 10. Especially if you are into snowboarding and skiing, you can spend quite a few days here. You'll also need some time to just enjoy the scenic views and soak in the hot springs. Though if you are not into the winter sports, then the long-term appeal here might be a little lower. General appeal for Nagano is an 8 out of 10. Nagano is a location that may not be on people's first-time Japan trip lists, but I think it has the potential to be there. It only takes about 1.5 hours from Tokyo via the bullet train, and you can easily get there to just enjoy the monkey onsen and the slopes without taking up too much of your trip. Overall for Nagano, we are looking at 25 out of 30. Now on the topic of best skiing and snowboarding locations in Japan, we will move our way north to Sapporo. This location is known for its winter activities. The Sapporo Snow Festival is held annually here in February, and it is world famous for its massive ice sculptures that attracts millions of visitors. Sapporo also has incredible snowboarding and skiing resorts, being the other top location in Japan. As far as food goes, Sapporo is known for its miso ramen, soup curry, and Sapporo beer. You can even visit the Sapporo Beer Museum here to learn more about Japan's oldest brewery. Sapporo was also the host city of the 1972 Winter Olympics and was the first Asian city to do so. There are also historical villages in Sapporo and plenty of other shrines and temples like the Hokkaido Shrine. If you want to get away from the cold, then there are hot springs for that. Check out the Jozanki Onsen, which is a hot spring resort town that is just beautiful in the fall with all of the autumn leaves. There is a lot to do in Sapporo, and I don't have time to go through it all, but this place has a lot going for it. Rating time. Sapporo's uniqueness is a 10 out of 10, especially in the winter with its world-famous Sapporo Snow Festival and the world-famous ski slopes. Sapporo's long-term value is an 8 out of 10. You could spend 3 to 5 days here to really enjoy, but if you want to do the winter activities and especially the snow festival, you may want to spend even longer here. The general appeal for Sapporo is an 8 out of 10, and Sapporo is a beautiful place year-round, but in winter is when it really shines. However, if you aren't into winter sports or the snow festival, then there are other places in Japan that are a bit closer to places like Tokyo and Kyoto where you can do similar things. Overall for Sapporo, a 26 out of 30. Our last stop is Naoshima, which is an art lover's paradise. If you are into art, then this place has it all. There are creative installations all over the island, including many outdoor ones, and there are many museums here as well. The Chichu Art Museum is one of the most renowned museums on the island. This building, designed by Tadao Ando, blends art into the landscape as it showcases various artists' work inside. The famous artist Yayoi Kusama's art installations are all around the island as well, showcasing her world-famous work and art style known for her polka-dotted and pumpkin-themed works. There are too many art exhibits to mention here, but basically, if you like art, this is your place. Lastly, time for the ratings. Naoshima's uniqueness is a 7 out of 10, mainly for its art and creativity of the designs and of the things on the island. However, that is the main attraction, as there are not a lot of other things there. Naoshima's long-term value is a 4 out of 10. You could go and spend a few hours here to a day or two, but I wouldn't take more than 3 days of casually exploring it all. General appeal for Naoshima is a 5 out of 10. Naoshima is an art island. I may be rating this a bit low as I am a bit less into contemporary art, but if that's your thing, then this is probably higher for you. I wouldn't add this to my list of first-time spots for Japan, but some people online have said that they just seem to really love it and it's completely worth it. So I'll let you decide. Overall for Naoshima, it is a 16 out of 30. These are some of the top locations in Japan, but there are still plenty more amazing locations, including Yokohama, Kobe, Nara, and just so many more. Let me know if you want a guide on these as well. What are your favorite places in Japan? Let me know in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys in the next one.